and welcome back to episode 2 of Poetry Readings with Tuesday. We're going to go with Tuesday. I like Tuesday. Okay, so this is a poem that I actually forgot that I had written, and as I was perusing through which poem to choose for episode 2, I came upon this one and decided that it was one that I liked. So, here we go. Words that I wait to tell you of my encyclopedic romancing. Daydreaming about you inevitably leads to toes dancing, heart racing, start chasing down sidewalks to the stratosphere, where every cloud is 9 and my composure is all but cavalier. I think about you as us. I think of us as one, like what if we made occasion for the celestials to celebrate with thunderings? Stars fall from enthusiasm, planets dressed for matrimony, galaxies attend as you close chapter in me that was sad and lonely. Inside of me you remedy what riddles me within my forests. With fiddle and coffee I sing of you with soliloquy at the borders to my wonderland. Do you understand? You could magnify or belittle me, speechless as if illiterate at thought that you would consider me. So this is clearly, again, if you couldn't tell, we are only at episode 2, but I have a thing for romance poems. So of course this poem is about, you know what, I'm gonna be honest, I wrote this poem, I don't know when. It was long enough ago that I forgot that I had written it. And sometimes I'll just like stumble upon poems like that where I go, oh, I forgot I wrote this. And so I stumbled upon this one. And as I'm reading it, sometimes there will be like lines in the poems that I write, and I will immediately remember like, oh, this is the place that I was in and this is why I wrote that poem. And then sometimes with poems like this, I go, oh, I think I was just like wanting to write like as an exercise a poem, and I wanted to play with a certain style of writing. And so I will sometimes do poems like this as an exercise, and I think this is what this was. But the idea is pretty straightforward. So it's this idea of like almost like, I think if I'm getting this right as I'm reading through it again, it's like me LARPing as like a secret admirer, or like having a crush that I haven't disclosed to yet that they are a crush. So like the first line, words that I wait to tell you of my encyclopedic romancing. Encyclopedic romancing meaning like they're the volumes of poems that I write about you. Daydreaming about you inevitably leads to toes dancing. Like this bodily fidgeting you do when you're just so overwhelmed with feelings inside, butterflies in your stomach that like you're quite literally your body just sits there and fidgets. Toes dancing, happy feet, penguin, happy feet, toes. Heart racing, start chasing down sidewalks to the stratosphere. Again, and now we're going from the idea of you create so much energy inside of me of being infatuated with you that my literal physical body in literal reality is like manifesting movement, to now then we are converting to a different realm of reality of now we go back into the body, heart racing, like pulse, heart racing, and now we go mental, ethereal, theoretical. Like in my mind, I start chasing down sidewalks, down these paths where I daydream about you. Heart racing, start chasing down sidewalks to the stratosphere. Now we're going mental. From physical, toes dancing, to mental space. Down sidewalks to the stratosphere where every cloud is 9, cloud 9 like being in love, and my composure is all but cavalier. So we start off the poem saying, hey, like words that I wait to tell you of my encyclopedic romancing, of how many ways in which I've created libraries of poems I've written about you, to now, like in reality, in real life, I've written volumes, libraries of poems about you. But when we convert into the mental space where I can imagine myself being more straightforward, I can say things, I say my composure is all but cavalier. Like I'm all but kind of like cavalier about, like I'm very overemphasized and straightforward and expressive and like intense and about my feelings for you. I think about you as us, which is a pretty straightforward, simple, but the idea is when I think about you, I think about you in the context of us as being a couple. I think of us as one, like the two became one flesh. I think about you as us. I think of us as one. Like, what if we made occasion for the? And this is just a very wordy way to say, like, I fantasize about us getting married. I think about you as us. I think of us as one. Like, what if we made occasion for the celestials to celebrate with thunderings? Stars fall from heaven. Stars fall from enthusiasm, planets dressed for matrimony, the galaxies attend as you close chapter in me that was sad and lonely. Like this idea of you walking down the aisle as my bride then puts a bookend and an ending to the chapter of the part of my life that was without you and therefore sad and lonely. Galaxy, planets dressed for matrimony, galaxies attend as you close chapter in me that was sad and lonely. Inside of me. And why? Like, why do you hold such power? Because inside of me, you remedy what riddles me within my forests. This idea of like the forest in literature and in folklore and in myth and in fantasy, the forest is like, it can be a place of like whimsical, magical adventure. And it can also be this place of like perplexing sickness and disorientation, and a place where you're not quite sure which way is up. It's like you're lost. You can be lost literally, like physically, like you're lost in the actual forest somewhere in the real world. But in your mind, you could metaphorically speak as and say, like, I feel like I'm in a forest where I don't know which way is up and I don't know which way is out and I don't know where to go. And so using that idea in this context of the forest being this disorienting space where I don't know which way is up and I don't know which way is out, and saying that in the psychology of my soul, when I find myself in a place like a forest where I feel lost and sad and lonely, it's you who, inside of me, you remedy what riddles me within my forests. So, like, not only am I in this space ethereally, mentally, psychologically, that feels like a forest where I'm lost, but now there's thoughts that, like, perplex me and disorient me, and things that just stir my mind, that take hold of me and bother me and agitate me and nag at me, and things that riddle me, things that I can't quite wrap my that bring what's the word that I'm looking for? Not synchronicity, like the opposite of synchronicity, that bring a lack of synchronicity, that bring a fracturing of my psychology, a fracturing of my person, where there's a dissonance. That's what it is, like a mental or cognitive dissonance of my psychology. So not only do I feel like the general space of where I am psychologically is a forest where I'm lost and disoriented, but then there's matters of the heart that are on my mind that bring a psychological or a cognitive dissonance to my person, which further disorients me. And in that state, this idea of you walking down the aisle, what it does is that you, inside of me, you remedy what riddles me within my forests. Inside of me, you remedy what riddles me, like you cure me of the sicknesses of my psychology. Inside of me, you remedy what riddles me within my forests. With fiddle and coffee, I sing of you with soliloquy at the borders. Just this idea of now I can be now the forest, going from being this place of disorientation and being riddled with matters of psychological dissonance to now being in this magical, whimsical place. You transform it into that space by saying, with fiddle and coffee, I sing of you with soliloquy at the borders. And kind of a long drawn out idea, but the idea of the border of something being this place of transformation. So the border not necessarily being this stagnant, stable idea or place psychologically, but a place where you're constantly converting back from, like it's to say it as something as simple as like there's these places in the United States where or a place in the United States where like multiple states meet at one little point. Like maybe there's like 3 different states that touch at one point and they mark it as like this landmark, this tourist site that you can come see. And so you can come literally, and people go, look, like I'm in this state. Like I'm gonna make up states because I don't know what the actual states are that converge at one point where you can like be in multiple states by just simply stepping into a different plot of dirt. But it's like, look, I'm in Utah. Look, I'm in North Dakota. Look, I'm in North Carolina. Look, I'm in Minnesota. Look, I'm in Pennsylvania. So, but literally, like when you talk about this idea of borders and crossing a border, literally meaning to go from one state to another, to use that idea of state, not in the literal term of a state like a Minnesota or a Utah, but a psychological state. So this border in your mind that creates separation of two different psychological states. And to sit at that place, to constantly be in limbo, to constantly be in transition between those two places, to constantly be playing with the idea of those two, it's like to try and dance and play in that area of maybe you have this idea of your like, and the simplest way to look at it that I've heard people describe is like who you are in your professional life at work and who you are when you're like in your leisure. You might be someone who's more open, more expressive, more laid back, more casual, but also more vulnerable in your leisurely life and around friends and close ones and loved ones when you're playing in your free time. But then you might be more serious and put together and sober, to describe oneself, in your professional life at work. And so what would happen if you were to try and portray or integrate some of that professional side in your leisurely time, or what would happen if you were to try to integrate some of that leisurely, playful side in your professional life, and kind of the dissolving of the borders that would then happen psychologically if you were to do that. So to say that you transform my forest from this place of disorientation psychologically to now this place of whimsical, magical fantasy land, I now go from being lost and sad and lonely to now with fiddle and coffee, I sing of you with soliloquy at the borders to my wonderland. Do you understand? You could magnify or belittle me. You make me, I'm at a loss for words. Like kind of this idea of you take my breath away, or like I'm speechless in your presence because I'm so in awe of who you are that I'm at a loss for words. At the borders to my wonderland, do you understand? You could magnify or belittle me, speechless as if illiterate at thought that you would consider me. So yeah, fun little exercise that I partook in to write this poem. So I'll just do one more run over of it, like just recite it, and then that'll be it for episode 2. Words that I wait to tell you of my encyclopedic romancing, daydreaming about you inevitably leads to toes dancing, heart racing. I start chasing down sidewalks to the stratosphere, where every cloud is 9 and my composure is all but cavalier. I think about you as us, I think of us as one, like what if we made occasion for the celestials to celebrate with thunderings? Stars fall from enthusiasm, planets dressed for matrimony, the galaxies attend as you close chapter in me that was sad and lonely. Inside of me you remedy what riddles me within my forests. With fiddle and coffee I sing of you with soliloquy at the borders to my wonderland. Do you understand? You could magnify or belittle me, speechless as if illiterate at thought that you would consider me. And that is episode 2, and I will see you guys next time for episode 3.